Welcome back to another video. It's Bradford City v Swindon Town match preview. Let me know your score predictions and thoughts going into the big game on Saturday in the comments down below. Like the video if you do go on to do so, and subscribe if you're new. On the road to 900 subscribers. All support is massively appreciated. Now obviously there were no match reaction for the game on Saturday when we went top of the league for the first time in my history of a Bradford City fan, on goal difference, but top of the league, and we celebrated very well. And that's why I didn't do a match reaction on Saturday and Sunday, because I got home at Sunday night. So there was a lot of celebrating going on. I was drinking a lot of bevies. So moving on to the preview, but no, we'll touch on that game because it was such a huge game in our history. To go top of the league in April is such a big thing, and I saw a stat that I think only once a team, I don't think ever a team hasn't been promoted when they have gone top of the league in April with 5 games to go, and I think it only happened once with Southend when they didn't get in the top 2, and they then went up through the playoffs. So hopefully we don't have to do that, but that gives us a lot of confidence. But we do know our running is tough, and we ended the season last season well, but this running is tough, and Swindon on Saturday is a tough game. Yes, I think the 14th don't have a lot to play for. Playoffs is out of their reach. Even if they won every game, I think that would be a remarkable thing if they could get in there. And Ian Holloway's done a fantastic job, and that's why we've got to be careful of them, because look, we're playing against a team that are quite confident at the minute. They've only lost 3 games in 2025. They haven't lost at home since November, losing to Morecambe. They lost twice to Morecambe this season. So that they are a bit of a funny side, and that's why they are 14th. But when Ian Holloway came in, they were in dire straits. It looked like they were going to go down. There was no way out for Swindon. You felt like this was a season where they're going to go into National League and they could go into the oblivion. They've got poor owners, who've sort of run that football club down in the last few years with false promises, and you can see that by the way the squad's been recruited, that the managers they've employed, the different types, and not too dissimilar to how Bradford City we won a few years ago, and only last year really. But we seem to be doing things more properly now. And obviously we know my video I made last week and why that were clickbait. Why Bradford City, yes. I felt that the striking options could be a problem for us as why we don't go up, but I wasn't saying why we won't. I do believe we will go up, and I did after Port Vale. Still, I have belief in this team because what we've got this season is something special, and that's what we saw on Saturday. It was a huge game. We had to win it, and we did, and we performed fantastically well. I mean, I've heard some people saying, we didn't play out well, particularly the crew, Alexander manager. Well, that's the sour grapes, because I thought we were fantastic again, and we had a lot of good chances other than the 2 goals that we scored, and I did that video on the strikers, and Callum Kavanagh scored a very important goal and a very good goal as well. You think, anyone could score it, but it did take good composure and bottle to put us 2-0 up and into a very comfortable position going into the final few minutes of the game. So hopefully he can kick on with that, but will he be starting? Well, we'll find out later, and let me know if he keeps his place up front for you in the comments down below. But like I say, that was a fantastic game for us in terms of the mood around the ground. To go top of the league in April is a fantastic achievement, but we've not done yet. And like we saw against Colchester, we had that great moment, thought we're going up and everything was rosy, but then all of a sudden we go and don't win in 2 away from home, and we look quite average. So we've got to carry it on, and I believe we can. I think it is going to be tough, but we do play better against teams who are on a good run. Against teams who have got maybe some hanging over them, like Port Vale, haven't won on Tuesday night for 3 years. Those sort of games, we sort of give them the win. And I don't know how it happens or why it happens, but that tends to happen. Whereas when we're playing against a team that have had a great home run, or have gone on a very good run, like only losing 3 this year, we tend to do better. And I think, Holloway, he's had a fantastic career, and he's one of those who I like. I mean, let me know your thoughts on him in the comments down below, because he's one who divides opinion. You either love him or you hate him. He's a bit like, Marmite, and I've never tried it, so I don't have an opinion on it. And I don't like, when people do have an opinion on it. I couldn't care less if you like Marmite or not, but I do care if you like Ian Holloway or not, and I do, because he's a character, and you need characters in football. And people like myself and a lot of people say, there's not enough characters in football, but then when there is characters, we shoot them down for being a character, not being a robot. You know, when you've got someone coming out with all the quotes he has over the years, and this year saying there's ghosts at the training ground, you know, it's fantastic to listen to. But it does make him sound a bit crazy, but I'm all for it. I like Chris Wilder as well, you know, Neil Warnock, all those types, so good on, I forgot his name, Ian. Good on Ian. I like that side of Ian Holloway. So great. But he's had a great career. Obviously, Blackpool's probably his biggest achievement. QPR legend. Bristol Rovers, I think, as well. Maybe in terms of playing career. But like I said, he's done a fantastic job at Swindon. Galvanised them a bit. Got a 3-year deal. And, you know, that they could well kick on next year. Or he could be like a Nigel Adkins next year. So it'll be interesting to see. But, you know, we've got to take advantage of a game like that tomorrow. Saturday. And another crazy thing we've seen from Holloway this season at Swindon is, in the last few games, Harry Smith, the big striker who at Sutton, who I wanted City to sign in the summer, and you know he's been fantastic this season for Swindon in League Two, one of the best strikers in the league. He's been playing centre back in one of the last 2 games, which were crazy. And I think they might have kept a clean sheet in that one. Or no, it was against Wimbledon, wasn't it? The when they won 2-1 with 2 penalties from Tishimanga. And they've been playing with like six strikers in the team. But obviously, you know, Smith in centre back. I think Butterworth, who were at Blackburn, is playing in right wing back. A very strange selection in terms of how many strikers on the pitch. It's Nigel Clough-esque, but it's been getting them results recently with back-to-back wins against, you know, Fleetwood 4-0 and Wimbledon 2-1. Did us a favour with that one. Not mediocre teams, so it is going to be a tough game. Players who I do like, obviously Harry Smith, I just mentioned there. He's scored 13 goals in 34 this season, and some fantastic headers as well, and good overall play. Very good link-up man for them up front, and you know he's been one of the best strikers in the league, like I said. And I like the 2 midfielders as well, Kilkenny and Cotterill. Cotterill got 3 goals this season. He scored some really good goals. I like his energy, and Kilkenny as well. Both have a lot of energy in that midfield, and are good on the ball as well, and can dictate. So you know that there'll be 2 good ones to watch out for. Maybe Cotterill for a few years, 20 years old, but I've liked him this season for Swindon. And then obviously Will Wright, the former Crawley centre-back, great with the ball at his feet, not as good defensively, but as we saw from him at Crawley last season, he's a top player at this level, and a very good defender as well. So you know he's one we can't really let get those overlapping ones, particularly if they're playing a back 3. But hopefully they'll come out and play and give us a game, because we do play better against those sorts of teams. But away from home, 5 wins away from home all season's not good enough. That ain't going to get you promoted. But I do have faith that we can pick up a win tomorrow, and I think we've all got to go in with that attitude, the players, the manager, and the fans. You know, we're the 12th man. We've seen against Crewe the penalty save, how he got behind a team, how he got behind him at Colchester, and through difficult periods. We can't go quiet. We've got to get behind. We've got to be that 12th man. But the players have to turn up and play with that intensity, that tempo, and with that bravery that we saw on Saturday, and that we didn't see against Port Vale, and I believe we will, because it is sort of a do or die situation of we need to win on Saturday, to give us a bit. To make it easier when we go to Doncaster. So it's a huge game, and we need to be up for it from minute 1 or second 11, like we're on Saturday. The club's fastest ever goal in history from one of our own. What a moment that was. But let's get into my team. Sam Walker in goal, Super Sam, with that penalty save. It could have easily changed if he didn't make that save, like it could have easily changed if he didn't make that save against Colchester. This second half of the season, I have to say, he's gone massively under the radar, and you know he's been one of our best keepers over the last few years. And you know, people say, well, if he had the personality of Harry Lewis, he'd be getting spoke about more. I think he's got the same. I think he connects with the fans just as much, and you know he's got that same personality, and he's a fantastic goalkeeper at this level as well. So hats off to him. He's kept us in games, and he's won us games as well over these last 6 months. In centre back then, right wing back, it's Brad Halliday. I thought he was poor against Port Vale, but massively improved back to his best against Crewe. Fantastic performance, keeps his place there. Across the back 3, I don't know what the situation with Neil Byrne is. If he's fit, I'd play him, but obviously he came off, so I'm under the impression that he won't be available for the game. He had a great game as well against Crewe again. You know, he gets criticism, but Critchlow got dragged off at half time. Kieran Kelly were very lucky not to against Port Vale. Who's the one who's always consistent? Let you answer that. Callum Johnson though would get me nod because I've been impressed with him all season. Obviously he had the injury at the beginning of the season. He seemed to have picked up a knock maybe a month or so ago, but he's been back and fantastic on the ball and good defensively as well. Got to go at them, and having a progressive ball player like Callum Johnson in there will help us just get up the pitch a bit more. I think we've got to press at them high, play a higher line away, because last couple of times a bit dropped off a bit. Let's get at them and let's put some pressure on them, and I think Callum Johnson would be key to that. And David Baldwin in the centre as well. His diagonal balls are fantastic, and again he's had a great few weeks. And Jack Shepherd comes back in at left centre back. He's had a few games out, had a knock, but more team selection, choice he's been out. But with Critchlow not really hitting the ground against Crewe, Kelly's dodgy performance against Vale, his best centre back in League 2 without doubt, so let's get him in and back in that position. Teo Adremola, left wing back, he did surprise me how poor he was against Vale and struggled with the physicality. At home, he's electric down that wing, but like I said, we've got to take it to him. He's been one of our best attack-minded players in the last few years, as much as I can remember, because he gets ball and he runs at them, and I love players like that. So definitely starting in left wing back. And then Smallwood as well, partnered with Brandon Kayla. Again, so impressed when he came on, sort of changed the game. Really tenacious tackle, got on the ball, drove with it, and we're wanting to make an impact on the game, and he wasn't lucky not to score as well. He had a good chance, and I've been massively impressed with Brandon Kayla when he's played, and I think he partners Smallwood so well as a partnership. Just ahead of them, it's Patterson and Poynton. Them two have made a big difference over the last few games. When we play well, it's because them two are the heart of that midfield. Poynton with his goal, but Patterson's overall energy and how he's like an extra man in midfield, and you need those sort of men, particularly away from home. And that'll be key for us if they can perform like at the best again. And then Michael Mellon up front. Now Kavanagh had a good game, I felt, against Crewe. Obviously there's moments that let him down, unfortunately, in games, but I think away from home you do need a bit more of a focal point, and I think Mellon offers a bit more off the ball in terms of folding it up and linking it up, and he's a better finisher in the box. But I think away from home, give Mellon a game, see what he's about, and if he doesn't impress you, bring Kavanagh on to make an impact. I think he can make an impact off the bench in terms of just hassling defenders, always on the move and being a pest. That's what Kavanagh's great at doing. So that's my 11. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know if you're feeling optimistic going into a game. I certainly am. I think it's one where we've got to get 3 points and target the 3 points from, and we've got to take the game to him, and I think we will. It's sold out, I believe, as well, so it's going to be a great atmosphere travelling down to Swindon, and hopefully we can pick up the big 3 points to keep us top of League 2 and and the big thing is setting the stall out for the rest of the day. You'd early kick off. I think there's another team kicking off at the same time with us who are up there, might be Wimbledon, Doncaster, and we've got to make sure that we're stamping our ground and saying we've got the 3 points, we're top of the league, now who's going to join us? And it puts the pressure instantly on, so that's a big thing as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below going into Saturday's game. Like the video if you did, and subscribe if you're new. On the road to 900 subscribers. All support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.